Pedro, Brezilyalı oyuncu. İlk altın bileti aldığında demiştik ki bu adam dünyanın en iyilerinden bir tanesi olmaya gidiyor. İlk 5'e girecek mi acaba dünyanın en iyi arasında falan dedik. Sonra dediler ki en hak etmeyen oyuncu denildi bir ara son zamanlarda. Şans aldı diyenler bile oldu. Ama burada Pedro işte burada. 2020 şampiyonu Ruben. O zaman da takımlıydı. Bireysel şampiyon değil yani. Ama takımı taşımıştı. Team Queso'yu. Ve Ruben. Burada. Evet. Çok da istikrarlı bir oyuncu. Yılların oyuncusu Ruben. Bir ara hatta dünyanın en iyisi Muhammed mi Ruben mi diye tartışılıyordu. Sonra bir düşüş yaşadı. Ve tekrar şu anda kariyerinin güzel noktalarından bir tanesinde. Evet, Ruben vs Pedro maçı başladı arkadaşlar. Havan'da başlayacak. Ruben ne yapıyor? Ruben bu nasıl başlangıç? Bu CRL finalleri mi acaba? Ben anladım ne yapmaya çalıştığını ama. Ruben ne yaptı biliyor musunuz? Bu adamlar psikolojiyle oynuyor. Ruben dedi ki Pedro savunma kuramaz, heyecan yapar dedi. Ve bu yüzden bence bir anda saldırmaya çalıştı böyle. Çünkü Pedro'nun fazla bir şey yok. Tecrübesi yok sahnede. Aynı desteği oynuyorlar.
Mortar lock now for Pedro. His turn to get some good damage.
Yeah, I mean, this is fascinating. Like you said, almost complete mirror matchup, but you gotta favor Pedro in this mirror matchup. This is his bread and butter. Minor poison mortar. That being said, Ruben
bırakacak
in a
mı?
very
İnanılmaz.
solid damage lead.
Pedro bir havan oyuncusudur arkadaşlar. Hatta dünyanın en iyi havan oyuncusu Pedro.
And now he goes evolved mortar in the middle to control the classic version of Pedro, and his goblin will of course help get that down just a little bit. Little Prince to clean up the minions as we get past the halfway mark of our opening three of the lead.
Yani
for Ruben 21-68 to 14-58, and you know Jackson, you have to take a look at this matchup. Not just
ve uzun
Ruben's
zamandan
skill
öfkemeyecek.
level, but he's been playing live on stage since he was 14 years old. Legendary at Team Queso playing in Spain with huge, loud, wild crowds over there. And you have to imagine that the bright lights here do not face him at all.
Absolutely. Here we go. Evil Mortar at the bridge. Minion's gonna try and take that down. Minor's doing a great job of tanking, but Mortar is done. Ruben did a great job of, like you said, you know, taking that heat. He knows how to defend, and he gets it done.
Minor goes to the number 3 spot, courtesy of Pedro. We'll get some good chip damage here as Ruben tries to defend his mortar against Little Prince, but it does survive. And now it's Pedro's turn to turn a mortar into a wasteland.
Minor in the very back right. Pedro predicting in the anti-mortar placement that Vito was talking about earlier. A lot of the time you see Minor being placed in the...
Havan vs havan maçı arkadaşlar.
And you see Ruben here doing a great job of sucking out
Havanla
the
baskı
minor
yapıp
on
madenciyi
defense, where you
yedirtiyorsunuz.
keep that minor of your opponent from playing offensively. Of course, the more you can extend that lead. And right now, things looking very, very good for the 2020 MVP.
Pedro knows that he can't come back with just minor chip, which is why we're seeing him use a lot of mortars in offense. He needs that mortar connection to win this match, but Ruben is going to keep applying the same pressure on the right-hand side.
Minyon artı madenci yapıyor bu adam.
Just ignoring that minor fully, and that's quite a lot of damage
Maden çok vuruyor
at
arkada.
this stage. His mortar evolved, not going to turn, but you see Pedro now taking pretty much a full minor.
Little Prince ability, Little Prince dealing quite well from that. Here comes the minor again. Minor to defend the minor is not looking great for Pedro, especially with 3-card cycle activated for Ruben here.
Little Prince does defend for a moment, and look at that. Guardian does get out to help keep that mortar up. Log to protect as well, get a little bit of chip damage. And again, Ruben extending his
bayağı iyi
lead.
başladı ya.
The grimaces
Başta
from
elini
Pedro.
kötü yakalamaya
I don't feel
çalıştı
like
ve
we saw this much expression
başardı.
from him during gameplay throughout this year, and now he's definitely showing his emotions on his face.
Minor plus minions. Minor to tank the minions here. Minions to defend the minor, and another mortar at the bridge. That was a tongue twister.
You got
Ortada bir
through
şey.
it very nicely though,
Oh,
Jackson.
kurtardı.
As the Ice Spirit goes down and the Little Prince comes out to stop the mortar from connecting.
Havan vurabilir.
497 to 1072. Miner of Pedro goes to the back. Miner of Ruben does not connect. Poisons though in to extend that lead. This is a
alır
little
herhalde
closer,
ya.
I think, than maybe Ruben had anticipated, but he is almost
Oh,
there
bir saniye, bir
for that
saniye, bir
poison
saniye, bir
spike.
saniye.
Miner in
Oh!
the back. Mortar is locked on tower. Poison drops down, but I think the poison's gonna take it in time.
And it's a
Oh,
finish. Ruben
çok
gets it
yakındı.
done by 155. It counts in the top 10 and he's continued to play like that throughout this.
Pedro vs Ruben, ikisi de
Yeah,
takım
I mean,
arkadaşı,
Ladder's
ikisi de
one
SK
thing, though.
Karalas'ta
We have
oynuyor.
duels formatting.
Yaşlıydım.
We have a lot of differences here.
Silahşör mü?
And looks like he's gonna start this game
Alışık
with some
olmadığımız
Witch versus Skelly's
kartlar
decent start.
genelde.
And maybe Balloon here from
Oo, yaşlı da
Musketeer.
silahşöre bakmadı.
Interesting choice as your glass cannon.
Roll recruits at the
Garip
bridge,
başlangıç.
Phoenix to prepare. I mean,
Bir-
we see a
birinci
Roll
mi?
recruits Hog Rider coming in here.
Oo, mezar taşını kaçırdı.
Wow!
CRL Dünya
Pedro
finalleri.
blinks and Ruben runs right on past him. That tower is absolutely
Ya ben anlamıyorum.
shredded. Not long
Ruben
for this
heyecanını
Royale
bilerek
stands, but oh my word,
deniyor
Ruben
herhalde.
comes out with a bang.
Pedro trying to counter push. He's got the skill,
Yani
he's got the ability, he's got a lot
herhalde
on the
heyecan
board.
yapacak
Ruben
diye bir anda
has three
saldırmaya
elixir. Is that
çalışıyorum
gonna be
ben.
enough to deal
Çünkü
with this
maç yeni
defense?
başlamış. Sen niye muhafız yapıp
Does he
bir anda
have
birinci
response?
basıyorsun
Goes
ki?
for the arrows.
Neden?
But look at this tower.
Ama dur.
Wow, just a slobber knocker, a
Pedro kuleyi
slugfest.
aldı.
Shots both direction and just like that, we are
Vay
pretty
be.
much all tied up,
Çok garip ha.
down, and Pedro right back in it.
Hadi be Pedro'cum. Kalk ayağa. Kalk ayağa. Bak sen, senin küçümsen birisi var karşı. Yenmesi lazım ya. Aşağı düşerse satamayabilir. Aşağıda Muhammed Gayet var. Kaybedenler grubunda. Eğer turnuvayı kazanmak istiyorsanız kazananlardan ilerlemeniz lazım artık. Bu gibi.
Well, again, you talk about a guy who has been phenomenal, does not get that fireball onto the Musketeer. She will be healthy behind all of this as the Rage works to get that Hog Rider down. But
Bu nasıl bir
Muskie gonna
bilgisiz ya?
do
İlk defa
triple
gördüm.
duty here, working in the bridge fight on the Skeleton King and now on the Phoenix.
Kraliçe oynuyor galiba
It's
Pedro.
going to take the Phoenix egg out as well. All in all, pretty even, but Ruben's doing a great job of pressuring with the Fire Spirit to make sure that this Musketeer is forced to be responded to.
Do we see a pocket play from Pedro? Probably not yet. It is only at 5 elixir, but that is now open. You see the
Güzel.
Tesla maybe there to predict
Aynı
the
tarafa oynamak
pocket drop
zorundalar
instead. Pedro, RG's up in the back.
Ruben going to do the same thing. He's going to play his evolution in the back. Next cycle, both of these Evos will be in hand, but you can't help but be a little bit in the driver's seat if
Muhafızı
you're Ruben
öldürmesi
here,
zor ya biraz.
because those recruits are going to do a great job of stalling
Baksana
these
şuna.
RGs.
Karakterini çok fena
This
öldürüyorlar.
time Fireball plus Rage gets the Musketeer off the board very easily. Second
Evrimli
Tesla
kağıda
down.
gelir mi?
Pocket now exposed though for Ruben in the next exchange, and he gets his Evolve
Şu
recruits down
muhafızları
very
bir
quickly.
yutsa, sonra
Maybe
hata
they're gonna
çıksa
cycle
çok
back
iyi
to a
olur.
Tesla in the next couple of cards.
Skelly King doing a great job of preventing any sort of counter push. Fireball last card for Ruben. Going to drop on top of
Oha,
that other witch.
geldi Tesla.
And here we go. Musketeer, Tesla might go to the
Bravo.
opposite side, spread out the fireball targets.
Tomruk yok
and
mu?
the
Yok,
Musketeer
Tesla
still
tomruk
working
yok.
against this
Güzel
Evolve
oklar.
Recruit.
Nasıl savundu
Heroes have to come out
bilmiyorum ama
defensively.
savundu.
Look
Ana
at that
kulesine
recruit,
muhafız
though.
vuruyor.
The Evolve Recruit all over the King Tower, and suddenly
başına
Pedro
mahvetti
having to
orayı ya.
defend on two fronts.
Wow, tower's down to 1134 because that recruit is just barely out of range of the Princess Tower, getting so much damage.
And this makes Fisherman so
Domuzlar bir
much
şey
harder
yapmaz
for
lazım.
Pedro to use. Can't really get
Silah
involved
var, Tesla var.
offensively. Obviously, not a great offensive target out of all these ones, but he doesn't want to pull that Musketeer
ayıdan
has
tek
to go with
yiyor
these
şimdi
fireballs because he needs to
Domuz
save that
kule vuruyor.
Fisherman to pick up the dangerous, opportunistic hog you might expect from Ruben at some point.
Silahşör
I
bayağı
love how
sıkıntı
Ruben's
ya.
constantly cycling these Musketeers.
Birinciye dikkat.
It's very difficult for Pedro to deal with them.
Ama
It
birinci
always
atması
forces
çok
out
saçma
6
olur.
elixir.
Can Ruben just defend from this point, or does he need to extend this lead? He has a pretty sizable margin.
Yeah, I honestly think that he's good to just keep defending. He's cycling recruits, always getting the Evo version down. And that's the thing about recruits, they kind of play themselves. Not only can you defend with them in the right, but they're always going to apply pressure in the left-hand lane.
Fisherman down. Is this an opportunity with some pressure on the left-hand side? No, goes for
Son artık bir dakikaya girdik.
on the
Güzel
Mother
bari.
Witch instead. Final minute,
Kraliçeleri gelir bu
triple
arada.
elixir Pedro.
Geldi. Muhafızları geçmen çok zor ama ya. İskeletler biraz yanlış ama Krahtleri 1 vurdu. Krahtleri 2 vurdu. Krahtleri 3 vuramadı. Çekme zaten şuna. Aman diyeyim. Çek birinciyi balık. Çeker çeker. Oh çekti. Oh. Çok yakın maç. Oradan bir Krahtleri yerim. Aa geldi. Vallahi geldi. Tesla'ya dönmedi. Krahtleri vuruyor. Krahtleri vuruyor. Pedro. 1-1 durum. Evet, durum 1-1. Ruben yine absürt bir başlangıç yapacak mı? Hemen kurdum geldi.
Not worried about Sparky himself, goes ahead and plays Sparky on his side of the board, an immediate Hog Rider right into a mini pack.
Sıfır vuruş, bravo.
Enough plays, always going to counter that Hog Rider for an even trade and then counter push, forcing Pedro to get this Tesla out early.
Gelir, Dev Goblin gelir. Bravo. Şövalyenin valkürümü güçlü madenci bir ne tercih ettin acaba? Güçlü madenci.
Does get the distraction there onto that mighty miner, and it does go down. The Sparky will not get the shot off. And now Ruben has to deal with these archers.
Şimdi eşleşmeyi yorumlayalım birazcık.
Here comes a Hog Rider as well.
Ne kılıcım var ne de mini
He's forced to
pekkası.
go for the Dark Prince. This Hog Rider is at least getting 2 shots here while the Archer kind of chips away at that shield.
Prens atak yapacak.
So if you're Ruben
İskeletler ve
here,
Goblin
other
var
than
mı?
the mini Pekka, obviously, how are you preparing for when that
Güzel.
Hog Rider outcycles?
Şimdi ben olsam yani Pedro'nun yerinde olsam nasıl sanırdım? Yani Tesla dikerdim, okçu atardım yanına. Sonra iskeletle buzlu, elektrolu falan geçiştirdim. Güçlü madenci bırakırdım yanına. Ama rakip mini pekka bırakırdı. Yani garip bir eşleşme, zor bir eşleşme. Dur bakalım nasıl olacak.
And you see right there, as you're talking about, the Sparky being cycled into the weak side lane.
Yeah, and a lot of the time you can do that versus big spells like lightning or fireball or even poison, but Pedro having the earthquake here means that it's not going to get good value on top of that Sparky.
Bak bilerek desteklemedi.
And it does get the Electro Spirit off. Not exactly what you'd love from a Sparky of all of its possible targets. Hog should be able to break through for one, and it does. And look at those Evo Archers, but they switch targets as the Mini Pekka is slightly pushed back by the Hog Rider.
Skeletons distract, Tesla's still a little bit. Everything's raged up though. Mighty Miner plus Snowball to try and slow everything down and take it out. I love this ability though.
And the ability does reset a bit.
Pedro.
Phoenix will put some death damage on there, but still the lead for Pedro. 47 seconds left and ahead by about 800. Now add that EQ.
Earthquake getting some nice chip. Another Sparky doing a great job of just blocking this lane like we talked about. But the thing is, Pedro doesn't exactly need to go for more Hog Riders. He's got his damage from the early game. Now he's content to defend quite well these E-Spirits and chip away with Earthquakes throughout the match.
And good skeletons here for the high distraction against that.
Ay.
On the tower.
Nazar değdi be çocuğa.
The Archer stays too close and disaster strikes for Pedro.
Are you kidding me? The splash radius was absolutely brutal there for Pedro, and Evo Archers are going to kind of stalemate here. No, Evo Archers from Pedro are going to stay alive. Now Pedro's in a situation where he needs to get that damage back, and he cannot make another mistake.
And Dark Prince now opens up dual lane pressure for this Goblin Giant Sparky deck, which could also be a huge problem going in. And now Ruben's just piling it on here at the bridge.
Dark Prince as well. Snowball trying to slow everything down. Sparky does shoot the one skeleton. No, the E-Spear gonna reset it, and this defense is solid.
Well, Pedro certainly has been capable defensively, and Mini Pekka not back, so
vallahi vurur. Kartopu da geldi. Bir tane daha. Bir tane daha. Çok güzel minci. Çok güzel zamanda attı. Aha, deprem döndürmeye başladı. Son yakındır. Son yakındır. Bunu savunabilirsen sen de. Hadi Pedro, yaptın defansı, bir kere daha yapacaksın sadece. Bak, evrimli okçun var hem de defansta. Daha iyi. Bravo be sana. Bravo be sana. Deprem geldi. Ruben kaybedenler grubuna düşüyor ve Pedro yukarıdan devam ediyor. Gerçekten mükemmel. Ruben kaybedenler grubuna elinden verdi Ruben. Vay be.